Have y'all been following this story about the Norwegian Dawn with 3,000 people, quote unquote, imprisoned on board over fears of a deadly outbreak that could kill half of everyone exposed? Well, I have, and I've got some things to say about it. Plus, apparently Carnival cruise passengers just don't know how to use elevators. And just why is Virgin Voyage's newest ship receiving so many darn complaints? Let's roll the intro. Hey, welcome to the Midships channel. It's your Captain Corey. Thank you so much for bringing your beautiful face here and stopping by the channel today. Now let's get things kicked off with a question of the day. Question: what was the calendar year that you took your very first cruise? Was it a long time ago or very recently? Personally, I was a late bloomer, but once they got me on board, they just couldn't get me off. Let me know your answer in the comments down below. Now let's get into the cruise news. There's only a few things that are really sure things in this world. Those are, well, death and taxes, right? And the newest sure thing is that you're going to be hearing about the Norwegian Dawn in the news today, no matter what news you look at. And that's because, well, everyone that writes about news has seemingly picked up on this story that a cruise liner is in distress with a deadly outbreak on board that has the potential to kill 50% of everyone exposed. The ship unable to make port, being turned away. It all sounds pretty scary, right? Let's not catastrophize this any more than the Daily Mail and the New York Post already have, though. The Norwegian Dawn was turned away from an East African port on Sunday due to potential health risks following the isolation of 15 passengers out of 2,000 who were suspected of having cholera, something that, if left untreated, has a potential fatality rate of up to 50%. If you ever played Oregon Trail, which, fun fact, I actually played it last night on a vintage Mac computer setup, you might remember that in that game, or some people call it a documentary, people died of dysentery and silly little things. They got cholera, and if you didn't take a break for a few days, you didn't chill, well, you're in the ground. It was a different time back then, right? In modern times, like today, we have medicines. We've been able to all but end the deadliness of cholera, at least in first world nations. And so I don't see this as big of a deal as the news is making it out to me. Now, if you're one of the 15 people who were isolated with stomach-related illnesses, it's probably a pretty big deal for you. And if you're watching and you're one of those people, well, I hope you get better quickly. Luckily, we're going to learn that it's probably not going to be as bad as the news is saying. I hope you're getting the best medical treatment that you can. Okay, so what we just talked about was the cruise news as of yesterday. As of today, there's a big new development. And that development is, as usual, the news freaked out and it got it very excited for probably nothing. And that's because the country of Mauritius, which is an East African country with a population of around 1.3 million, they had their Ministry of Health director revealed today that they had tested the passengers on board the Dawn and they were negative for cholera. And there's zero evidence that cholera has been on board the Norwegian Dawn. As a matter of fact, the sick passengers are instead battling gastroenteritis, aka an infection in their stomachs. A lot of people just call this the stomach flu. It's going to make you really uncomfortable. It's going to make you sit on the toilet, and you're going to get very dehydrated if you don't take in enough fluids. That's why Mama always said, drink water when you're sick. It's not very likely to kill you, which is good. So it seems like there's been a whole lot of hubba bubba? No, that's the gum I used to chew. Hullabaloo over this whole situation. And when someone finally stepped in and did testing and was the responsible adult in the room, well, they found out the truth pretty quickly, and the ship was given full clearance to dock and port by authorities in Mauritius. I've actually met a lot of ship's crew members from this country. They are wonderful, wonderful people. I made some very good friendships with them. It's a place I'd like to personally visit someday. I've heard some really great stories about it. You know what else is a really cool place that a lot of people like to visit? Well, it's the place in the link down below this video. That's the Midships Amazon store. In there, you can get a full list of everything I take with me on every single cruise. You don't got to buy anything, just to be curious to say, hey, am I missing something for my next sailing? You don't even have to buy it through me, but it's a good place to check out. It's a great little resource for cruisers. I did happen to notice that my suitcase that I use, the level 8 carry-on luggage, was discounted to like $150 today. So you might want to check out that link down below if you want some really, really sweet luggage. Plus, you're directly supporting my work, and I really appreciate that. Now it's time for some happy birthday wishes for a couple of beautiful ladies. Happy birthday to Carnival Venezia, who's today completing 5 years in service. Happy 5th birthday as well to the MSC Bellissima, and perhaps the most famous ship on our list of birthdays today. Happy 20th birthday to the Diamond Princess. How interesting, we're talking about quarantine ships, and it's the 20th birthday of the most well-known quarantined cruise ship the world over. Very interesting. Right, where are my Carnival cruisers, my very important fun people? I know you're out there. Apparently, y'all don't know how to use elevators. At least that's according to Carnival's brand ambassador, John Heald, who had to make a video on his social media explaining how the new model of smart elevators being installed on Carnival ships, or you might know them as just touchscreen elevators, explaining how they work and how you're supposed to use them. Have you ever been on one of these ships with these newfangled elevators where you just walk up to a panel, you push the floor number that you want to go to, and it like points an arrow somewhere off in the distance and says, you go to elevator A, you go to elevator E. And it's, I don't know, I just like to stand by these elevators and watch cruise passengers try to figure them out. It's literally like watching someone herd cats to see cruisers try to use these elevators. It's hilarious, but in reality, they're very expensive, and Carnival is making a big investment into easing your pain as a cruiser on board ships. They want to make it easier for you to get to where you're going. Maybe it's the comedy show, the buffet, the main dining room at dinner, wherever it is. That's why they're spending the money on these. They're designed in such a way that the elevator automatically schedules different cars to go to different floors based on how many people have requested to go there and where they're coming from. But cruisers, as you know, will see an open door on an elevator with an arrow pointing up, and they're going up. So they just walk their happy little buns onto the elevator. And with these new ones, well, that's a problem because inside there's no buttons. You can't choose your floor. You choose it outside. So you end up getting on an elevator and you're at the mercy of wherever that's going. And it's caused a lot of confusion, and it's made John Heald have to come out and put a video out to say FFS, which stands for something. I don't know what it is. FFS, this is how elevators work. So if you got a cruise coming up and it's on one of these newer Carnival ships or one of the more recently refurbished ones, like the Horizon, you might want to hop over onto his Facebook page. There's a quick little video, and it's kind of fun. You can learn how to use the elevators and make your Carnival cruise a little bit better, because apparently you don't know how to use elevators. You know, it's interesting. You're still here watching, which means you should probably consider subscribing here to the Midships channel. We're growing. We have a good time talking about cruises, and I would love to have your beautiful face join in for the fun every single time I post a new video. Do me a big favor, leave a like on this video if you think other YouTubers might want to watch it just like you. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel today, and until next time, we'll see ya on the Midships.
La 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 la